Hi, boys and girls. I'm going to read to you today from Chapter 6 in Paddington, and it's called A Visit to the Theater. The Browns were all very excited. Mr. Brown had been given tickets for a box at the theater. It was the first night of a brand new play, and the leading part was being played by the world-famous actor Sir Seeley Bloom. Even Paddington became infected with the excitement. He made several journeys to his friend Mr. Gruber's to have the theater explained to him. Mr. Gruber thought that he was very lucky to be going to the first night of a new play. All sorts of famous people will be there, he said. I don't suppose many bears have that sort of opportunity once in a lifetime. Mr. Gruber lent Paddington several second-hand books about the theater. He was rather a slow reader, but there were lots of pictures, and in one of them, a big cutout medal of a stage which sprang up every time he opened the pages. Paddington decided that when he grew up, he wanted to be an actor. He took to standing on his dressing table and striking poses in the mirror, just as he had seen them in the books. Mrs. Brown had her own thoughts on the subject. I do hope it's a nice place, she said to Mrs. Bird. You know what Paddington's like. He does take these things so seriously. Oh, well, said Mrs. Bird, I shall sit at home and listen to the wireless in peace and quiet. But it will be an experience for him, and he does like experiences, so. Besides, he's been very good lately. I know, said Mrs. Brown. That's what worries me. As it turned out, the play itself was the least of Mrs. Brown's worries. Paddington was unusually silent all the way to the theater. It was the first time he had been out after dark, and the very first time that he had seen the lights of London. Mr. Brown pointed out all the famous landmarks as they drove past in the car, and it was a happy party of Browns that eventually trooped into the theater. Paddington was pleased to find it all exactly as Mr. Gruber had described it to him, even down to the commissioner, who opened the door for them and saluted as they entered the foyer. For us, a commissioner would be more like an usher, or a person who greets you when you go to the theater and opens the doors and says, "Welcome." Paddington returned the salute with a wave of his paw and then sniffed. Everything was painted red and gold, and the theater had a nice, warm, friendly sort of smell. Now, boys and girls, there are different types of theaters. You're probably used to going to a theater where you see a movie. But in this story, Paddington is going to a theater where he's going to see a play. And there's going to be a stage. And there's going to be people that come on that stage, and they're going to act like they're playing a part. There was a slight upset at the cloakroom when he found that he had to pay in order to leave his duffel coat and suitcase. The woman behind the counter turned quite nasty when Paddington asked for his things back. She was still talking about it in a loud voice as the attendant led them along a passage towards their seats. At the entrance to the box, the attendant paused. "Program, sir?" she said to Paddington. "Yes, please," said Paddington, taking 5. "Thank you very much." "And would you like coffee in the interval, sir?" she asked. Paddington's eyes glistened. "Oh, yes, please," he said, imagining that it was a kind thought on the part of the theater. He tried to push his way past, but the attendant battered the way. "That'll be £7.50, she said. £1 each for the programs and 50p each for the coffee. Paddington looked as if he could hardly believe his ears. £7.50. That would be like $7.50 here, he repeated. £7.50. That's all right, Paddington, said Mr. Brown, anxious to avoid another fuss. It's my treat. You go in and sit down. Paddington obeyed like a shot, but he gave the attendant some very strange looks while she arranged some cushions for his seat in the front row. All the same, he was pleased to see that she had given him the one nearest the stage. He'd already sent a postcard to his Aunt Lucy with a carefully drawn copy of the plan of the theater, which he had found in one of Mr. Gruber's books, and a small cross in one corner marked "My Seat." The theater was quite full, and Paddington waved to the people down below. Much to Mrs. Brown's embarrassment, several of them pointed and waved back. "I do wish he wouldn't be quite so friendly," she whispered to Mr. Brown. "Wouldn't you like to take off your duffel coat now?" asked Mr. Brown. "It'll be cold when you go out again." Paddington climbed up and stood on his chair. "I think perhaps I will," he said. "It's getting warm." Judy started to help him off with it. "Mind my marmalade sandwich," cried Paddington as she placed it on the ledge in front of him. But it was too late. He looked round guiltily. "Crikey," said Jonathan, "it's fallen on someone's head." He looked over the edge of the box. "It's the man with the bald head. He looks jolly cross." So that's where we're going to stop today. What has happened is where Paddington is sitting in the theater with his family, there's a top section and then there's people below. And Paddington, they put his sandwich on the edge, and when he went to put his coat on, he bumped off the sandwich and it fell way down till it landed splat on somebody's head. I don't think they're going to be happy about that. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.